It's time for Who Watch, Time and Relative Blackness in Space.
Black girls have the box.
Hi everyone, it's Bayana, Connie, and Robin coming to you live from the Time Vortex.
We're continuing our Blue Ballot Box series where we discuss one episode from each season of New Who based on our nominations and your votes. Today we're discussing episode 8 of Doctor Who season 6, Let's Kill Hitler. I won!
You
and
won!
I'm sorry. And I'm sorry about
Congrats, and also yikes.
Yikes. In this episode, the Doctor is dying, Amy names her daughter after her daughter, and Rory puts Hitler in the cupboard.
Yeah, he does. So Robin won one.
Robin won. But I also think we should start with, we are all shocked.
I really thought that this episode was like fun and doing something.
No,
and fine.
Absolutely. And
I thought it was fine.
I literally was like,
fine.
It's always been an episode that I'm like, oh, it's fun. Like, I'll watch it. You know, it's never been one that I skip. It's always been one if I'm like doing a rewatch. I'm like, yeah, let's watch it. It's good. It's fun. Whatever. And this time I was just like, oh no. I don't know what changed, but maybe it's the fact that we're doing this. Like, honestly, it could be
watch.
Like, like, as opposed to just watching it, just to be like, yeah, let's
I think
kill
I usually
Hitler.
just
Woohoo!
have it on in the background when I'm watching it. Maybe, like, I don't know, because all the things that we're going to discuss that are wrong with this episode, I'm aware that they're, like, I've been aware of them.
Yeah.
But, like, for some reason, it doesn't bother me as much in a full watch than it did, like, watching it individually. Because I was looking at this episode, like, why? Why is all this happening?
I think that's probably
like, when you put it to the rest of the season, it stands out in the rest of the season as being
part 2,
not as bad.
Especially the second half.
This is the beginning of the second half too. Yeah. So like, this is supposed to be the premiere, like would be
it was
the
a premiere basically.
Yeah. I mean, I think that like it could be that it could be like one of the things I'm still unsure about. I need to rewatch season 9. Is like, do I love it because it's really good, or do I love it because it came after season 8 and I was like, wow, storylines that make sense. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'd have to rewatch it. But. So maybe it's partially that, but it just like, and again, like you're saying, Connie, like I knew that there were problems, but like they were just, to me, in my head, it was like, these are problems that are with like the entire season and like most of Moffat's run. So it didn't feel quite as like focused, I guess. It was just like, yeah, they stay doing this. It's done, but whatever. We're having fun. We're running around. Like, but this one I was just like, oh God, like I don't.
And I'm trying to remember how I felt after watching it the first time, because I know that season 6 was my first live season. And so like, yeah, exactly. It was sort of my first live season. And, coming off of season 5, which is still very good. And like season 4 and 5 are like this ramp up of like, wow, Doctor Who is this show. Like, I'm in it. I'm here. So to come in with like, the confusion of the Impossible Astronaut arc. And like, okay, sure, yeah. And the ramp up of A Good Man Goes to War, and that kind of also confusion. Like, again, Let's Kill Hitler was a reset, and I was like, okay, things got confusing towards the end there, but they're gonna turn, like Diana was saying earlier, they're gonna turn it around. It's gonna make sense. And then I was like, ooh, River backstory. No River backstory. Please, no River backstory.
It's so bad.
It makes absolutely no sense, and we'll get into some of the things of why, but I don't understand how you wrote it and thought it made sense. Like, there are things that Moffat does where it's like, all right, I kind of see where he thought that was going to hit, and then it didn't, and then this, I was like, but how did you think that this made sense?
So I think what it is not necessarily that he thought it made sense, it's that he wrote this thing that he thought was a great twist, and then realized that he didn't set it up at all. You know what I mean? Like, there are moments, like, I think that there are, like, you can tell sometimes when, like, you write the twist and clearly it's been built, there's a build-up to it. Like, you could go back to the episodes and be like, oh, okay, I see what's going on. Mm-hmm. Versus, like, if you went back and watched, like, the Crash of the Byzantium episodes, it's clear he knew that River had a secret, but didn't know what it was yet. Like, it's not, it wasn't that Amy is her mom.
No,
because if he had known that, there would have been a way where we wouldn't have known it watching it the first time, but watching it back, we would have seen, like, clues to that. Yeah. So I think it's very much of a,
I think he knew that she kills the doctor.
Yes, or, like, he assumed that. Knew that.
Yeah.
He knew that, but he didn't know about, like, the rest of it. And so you can tell in the way that he kind of, like, just tries to, like, shove it in there and be like, oh, see, this whole time. And you're like,
I mean, if you have to do a montage of this character totally existed, you ain't doing
right. That's not, then they didn't exist. Like, literally did not exist.
Yeah.
Never mind. Well, I can save that part. But, like,
I also think that it's one of those things, too, where he writes, like, for the moment and not this, like, the broader story, or even for the season and not the broader story.
Which is crazy because he's such a guy with a broader, like, it just seems like he wants there to be this broader story.
He always wants there to be this big, like, twist, reveal, oh my god.
At the end, you gotta build that, bro.
Yeah, but he goes piecemeal by piecemeal. And then the other part is, like, with River especially, like, or even not even with River, but that the doctor's death, right? Mm-hmm. So River's this character and she's got a secret and it's big. And you see that building up, and you get that, like, a little bit in Silence in the Library, where it's like this character has a deeper path and is more important. But I don't have to worry about what that is because I don't run the show, and it's just going to be a good two-parter. And then, I'm running the show now, and I did set up this character who's got a deeper past and, like, got a big secret. So maybe we explore that. I guess it'll be that she is Amy and Rory's daughter. Okay. She's a child of the TARDIS. That's the secret. Cool. Okay, well, people really like River. And, she's here and she's this character, so maybe we have even, like, I set up that she's in prison and whatever. She kills the doctor. Cool.
See? And I think it was the opposite. I think it was she kills the doctor. Oh, maybe she can be Rory and...
Yeah.
Well, even if it is the opposite, but, like, I think it she's Amy and Rory's daughter, and then, she kills the doctor, because there's no the way, the bailout of the doctor's death is so lazy.
Yes.
That I'm like, there's no way that he even had 2 seasons to think this through.
Well, no, I feel like they're separate, but I feel like he knows from, what I'm saying is, like, I think he knows from at least the second River, probably not Silence in the Library, but at least she pops up again in the Angels episode.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The Byzantium. I think at that point he knows that she killed the doctor.
And that they're married.
See, at that point, I think he knows that they're married, and he knows that she's got some vague, bigger purpose in the doctor's life.
I think we should pause because this is not Let's Kill Hitler.
Right.
Only because, like, I think we can go back and watch those episodes and.
But anyway, so for Let's Kill Hitler. But in this episode, and that's what I'm saying is, like, in this episode, and, like, so he does have she's the one that kills the doctor thing. It's, like, it's really episode by episode, because, like, did she kill him here? No, obviously not. She saves him with her regenerations. But I've already set up that the doctor dies. So I'm pushing the thing back. Like, I haven't figured it out yet, but that's not going to stop me from adding to the larger story piece by piece by piece.
Mm-hmm. Not only pushing it back, but writing yourself into a hole.
Right. I'm going to write this thing, and I still haven't figured out how it all works yet, but I'll figure it out, and I'm smart enough that I can write
I'm just genius enough. It'll come to me.
It'll come to me later.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
it's like wanting to write an epic, but being a procrastinator about it. Like, how do you procrastinate?
Me.
A plot. But the plot? Connie?
Well, see,
Connie, I was going to say, that's not you. Did you write something and publish it without the plot?
Well, see, that's the thing. I don't have the confidence. I need the confidence of the mediocre white man.
You don't.
No. What did I say?
But that's what I'm saying, is that if I had that confidence, I might be there.
No. but we are doing confidence and competence.
Yeah.
Okay?
Both hands.
No, of
You don't
course,
want
I
to
believe
confident.
that.
It's really got-
Absolutely.
Both
No, but I'm
hands.
saying that if I had
You
that
can't-
confidence, I might be where Moffat is, where it's just like, I'm going to just start writing stuff and publishing it because I didn't
If you
think the whole
came to
thing
us and
through.
said,
But I don't have
I
that.
got this thing and it's fire, let's publish it, and we go, okay, but what's the plot? And you're like, I'll get there. We're going to be like, girl, you know, go
No.
sit down
No,
and
I finished the
figure
thing
out the
first,
plot.
and then I'm like, here, I wrote a thing, guys, by the way. Anyway, in this specific episode, we meet Melody, Mel's, and we'll talk about her
That's awful
specifically
acting.
later.
She's so bad. Okay, but also I think so. First thing is the Doctor's been searching for, like, in this hiatus that they've been on since A Good Man Goes to War. The Doctor's been searching for Melody, baby
Yeah,
Pond.
Baby River.
And Amy and Rory are kind of just like back in their lives.
Yep, back in Ledworth.
In Ledworth, and just, you know, until they're like, let's call the Doctor and see what he got, which is like,
And I
you
guess
can
he's
call
been
any
ignoring their.
iteration.
Yeah, I guess he's been ignoring their calls.
Sure, but I also think it's like he's been ignoring their calls, but also like it's one of those things where, like, when you call the Doctor, you could call any iteration of him. Like, any of them could have found him. Like, it just seems like
they might have been calling the wrong doctor, and the doctor's like, I don't know this number.
I don't know.
Screening it. Leave a voicemail.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think if you call him, if like with the number that he gives, like if they have a number to the TARDIS, you're always going to get the correct iteration. But if you start doing crop circles, who knows who you're going to get?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, the crop circles, and they're like, watch like 9 pop up, like, who are you? Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Which honestly would be a better episode.
It would be. Someone write that episode.
I would like that. I would like to see it.
Yeah. Can you talk to Eccleston about this when you guys pitch that?
I'll just start pitching him ideas like, hey, we got some stuff for you.
Yeah. We have some fix-it that we would love for you to participate in. I think the other part about Let's Kill Hitler and Mel's, and like you alluded to it earlier, is like when you have to have a montage to introduce a character, then that character never really existed.
Yeah, and
she's like trying to get them together. It reminds me a lot of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where once Deke, and I'm not caught up, so I don't know. This is like last season.
Either. Yeah.
But once Deke realizes that they're his grandparents, he's like, well, y'all got to be together because my whole existence depends on it, you know?
Well, see, I think of it more as like, I mean, yes, but I feel like just, you know, I don't know who is behind or whatever, but Back to the Future.
Yeah.
What?
In Back to
the Future. That's one in Back to the Future. That's like where like the whole thing is him.
In the movie. I was like, what?
No. Sorry, I'm talking about the movie.
So you're like, I don't know who's behind. Like, you can't be behind them.
S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah, I feel like with S.H.I.E.L.D., that's not really the plot of it. I think it's like with Back to the Future, the whole plot is like, oh shit. Which, I mean,
I need to exist. Yeah.
All right. My mom done fell in love with me. That's awkward. But yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the idea of like she knows that they're her parents, so she goes back to have them raise her, but they're children. So how babies raising babies?
I don't make any sense. It doesn't work. It doesn't
and like,
work.
where is she? Is she staying at an orphanage? Like,
I don't know.
And they don't know this about her. Like, they never meet her. They grow up with her. They never meet her parents.
I don't know.
Who should be raising her.
It stresses me out.
And like the thing is like, and then the thing that's so frustrating is like the whole excuse of why the Doctor hasn't met her is because she doesn't do weddings.
Yeah,
but it's like,
right. But you know that that's the Doctor.
If that's your best friend, she would have at least been at some kind of like. She would have gotten mentioned.
Right. Amy would have mentioned her at some point.
Even
just
like
very
the
least.
11th hour, she would have been around, right? Like, or somebody would have mentioned her or something like, "Oh, what's Mel?"
I gotta call Mel's.
Right, like, "Oh, Mel's calling me. This is her one phone call, so let me just."
And that's part of the thing. And that's part of the thing for me is that like there are plenty of shows and like. Even movies and series, like, I'm sure the MCU has done this, like, a bajillion times, where it's like, you didn't intend for something to be a thing, but like you at least had seeded a vagueness earlier that you can take advantage of. So it's like it's not like there was a character that they had mentioned like, oh, our friend, or like even naming her, but like you don't have to name her
friends.
because they don't have friends. Like the way that they had introduced them was very clear, and then suddenly it's like, oh, and by the way, this other girl that we know. But like you didn't even give the vague, like even a vague reference to this idea. Like, so it's not there's nothing for us to hook onto. There's nothing for us to hook onto. For us to be like, oh well, maybe it did exist and they didn't know, and they're just using this idea that they had introduced. No, there's literally nothing.
No idea. They were like, oh, what? Okay, so they were like, okay, so River's their daughter. Okay, what if she was also their best friend? And what if that's who? Like the other thing, like she was like, oh yeah, I named my daughter after Mel. Why would that have not been mentioned beforehand?
Yeah, I'm gonna name you after
my best friend.
When they name her, I think we'll name her after Mel's. Like we'll name her after our friend.
Right.
It's because they didn't know. And it wasn't
a
thing.
The true tea is that he wrote A Good Man Goes to War, and he was like, "Oh, we got hiatus. Bet I'm gonna figure it all out."
And then he did it.
And then he didn't. And then he was like, "Oh shit, hiatus is almost over, and I haven't figured it out yet."
Because at the very least, in A Good Man Goes to War, Mel should have been mentioned.
Yep.
It still wouldn't have like done everything it needed to do, but at the very least, like we'd be like, oh, okay, there's some person.
And so Mel's shows up mad aggressive in a bright red stolen car, and we can probably get into the racial dynamics of all of that a little later. But like her entrance is so fresh, like so aggressive, and it's like this energy that I hate in real life, much less on my TV shows that I like. And so that was already a ding against her. And then I was watching it like, why is she so obsessed with the doctor in this way? Like, Amy's whole thing was that...
You've never met her. It's just a story that Amy told you. And like...
And why wasn't Amy like...
Chill out, that's my man.
Weird. Or not even that, but this is weird in a way that is disqualifying as a friendship. Like, you are my friend. It's my imaginary friend that I told you about. And now you're using it to get in trouble, and then I gotta wait for you outside the principal's office. I gotta bail you out of jail. I gotta all these things because of my imaginary friend, who I'm not even stressed out about like that.
Right.
Like I went to therapy. I got it.
Right.
Like that is not endearing. It's like this woman is
weird,
obviously brainwashed, which I guess she is, but
it's weird.
It's weird, and
then so I think one of the things I've never liked Mel's, even when I was watching the episode the first time, and I think, and then I wondered if because then then she regenerates and is like River or whatever, or is Alex Kingston. She's not quite River yet, but I wondered if okay, maybe I just don't one. I mean, the actress is not great, so there's that. But also I was like, is it just because she's not River? Because then River, the personality wasn't. It was different in the way that regenerations are, but it was more or less the same. And so I was like, is it just because I don't like that actress? Is it because of I wasn't figuring it out? I couldn't figure it out. And now I'm just honestly, even River, once she regenerates, is not great. So it's really just Alex Kingston pulls it through, and you're just
it's the writing that's terrible.
Yeah. Because I was like, wait, is it me? Is it because for a long time I thought it was just me, and I was like, okay, I don't like Mel's, but that doesn't make sense because they're the same person, and then no, it's the writing.
And there's also this thing about the Doctor's regeneration are very frantic the way that Mel's Rivers was as well, but they're standing there dumbfounded looking at her, and she's just literally frantic and going through a bunch of shit and just saying things that don't
make any sense.
But also don't endear you to her.
Yeah.
The teeth. Who's River? This. I'm gonna kill you. This. Blah. Yeah, the teeth. The hair. The. And
then there's also
it's all about her appearance, and I have to go weigh myself now,
gross,
and
gross.
all of this.
I'm gonna wear lots of jumpers.
Yeah, the Doctor doesn't do when he regenerates. He does talk about it. The I'm not a ginger. my hair, my
Right.
teeth, but it's not like I have to go shopping and it's like very shallow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Especially for someone
And
who's like intending to commit a murder.
right,
And I will also say too is that like it's weird to me, and I get like part of this is also just like there are you got 45 minutes or whatever, 42 minutes
Yeah, they
of the
definitely
show.
needed more time.
So I think because I feel like part of it is like she gets there and she's like, yeah, Bells, I'm holding you at gunpoint, but I'm not really gonna use it. I just want to go like time traveling. Let's do it. And then after she regenerates, she's immediately like, all right, cool. Now we're about to kill you, which seems
You could have
like
did that in the present.
yeah,
Like there was
right.
no need for the
She didn't have to
charade of going back
regenerate
in
for that to
time.
happen.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So that part is like it's weird because it's like
They
okay,
just wanted to
all
give
of a
her to
sudden-
Alex Kingston, but like have her connected to Amy and Rory, so it had to be a different actress. And it
right,
made my head
which is
hurt.
fine. But and the thing is like it's fine. It's just the way that they get there. Like she should have been murderous beforehand.
Yes.
Whereas
Yeah.
in this case,
Yes.
and whereas really Mel's just seemed like real chaotic and like
And then all of a sudden she's transformed, and now she's
And
actually
she's like,
set
murder.
to commit the crime.
but
Right.
she's also like she's supposed to be this harmless, like shit stirrer. She's a troublemaker, but she's harmless and lovable. I didn't get the lovable part of it,
No.
but you know what I mean. She's a troublemaker, right? There's no like quick. There's no transition between troublemaker to I'm gonna murder you.
Right.
And again, like the personality part, I think
That
they're
shouldn't
relying
happen
on the
when she first meets the doctor.
yeah.
Right?
I think they're relying
troublemaker
on
Mouse has a gun. Why do you have that? Because I'm gonna kill this son of a bitch. Like
they were relying on the regeneration changes your personality thing, which doesn't actually.
It doesn't work because she came prepared with all of those tools. Like she had to have lipstick on her, and then she already knew that she was going to.
Well, because he was a target. It wasn't like it changes your personality and I'm gonna murder anyone. She was going to murder the doctor because she'd been brainwashed or whatever to do that. So she should have been trying to do that from jump.
Contrastly, I think for me, I don't know if this would have actually worked better, but we also know that River has this like, Melody has this obsession with him, and before she like literally in the moment of her regeneration, like we should get married. So like, obviously there's also the romantic side of that where it's like eventually River loves the doctor and all that stuff, or at the very least River uses seduction to kill the doctor. Like she knows that this is a path for her to take that will probably work better than trying to actually kill him via an aggressive means. So as Mel's, she should have been more, I don't know, alluring,
like
more
coming on to him.
Right.
Yeah.
In a way, especially considering she was obsessed with him for a really long time. Amy knows this, and they've probably been annoyed with each other about it. Like that would have worked better than this chaotic, like, I want to go back in time just to kill Hitler. Like the chaos doesn't work when they could have just gone with seduction and then maybe switched to her fake aggression because she was trying to distract him from the idea of the seduction working. And so like there's just so many things.
Can we also move beyond? Okay, so because first off, all of that could have happened in the present. She could have said, "Take me out of here," because I brought the. I've stolen this car. Now, like, there's a bunch of people chasing me, and we need to move. There's no need to kill Hitler. But then we get there, and then there's the fucking robot thing.
Too many things happening.
Too many things. Like that was like one too many, and then like I'm going to like we're the time police or whatever, and we're gonna go like punish Hitler. But we're too early in his timeline. But we've done all of this shit in 1931, and now once we get in the room with him, it's too early.
Okay. Wait, so they did all this stuff. They didn't check what the date was. They were like, "Oh shit, we're a year too early." Y'all did all that shit to be a year too early. And then on top of that, they still left Homeboy in the cupboard, which honestly I appreciated that he wasn't the center of the episode.
Right.
But they left Homeboy in the cupboard and went after River, who was also very clearly not at the end of her life.
Right.
So how are you telling the doctor, "Oh, we come at the end of their life and give them hell"? But Homegirl just regenerated. She just became River.
Right.
So
She was
I
at the very beginning. Of her
very
timeline.
beginning. So I'm very confused.
And in your records, this is not when she kills the doctor.
So why are you here? It's
Like,
not
go
when
back
the
to talk about Hitler.
The doctor hasn't died yet because he's clearly there. Being like, oh shit, we better just go find her in 5123.
We can prevent it, but we can't prevent it because it's a fixed point in time.
So then why are y'all here?
So why are y'all involved?
And also, what's the point?
What is the point?
What? And
there's so many things you can do with
I appreciated
time.
the doctor that said,
like,
I appreciated the doctor's comment that was like, y'all finally got time travel and this is what you're doing with it. Like
these people are dead. Move on. I get it on the one hand, because I get, there's the trope of let's kill Hitler. So I understand that part of it. But if you're not actually preventing anything, if you're not there to actually kill, if you're not killing Hitler a year before or however much before, y'all just there to punish him for what? What's that doing? That didn't save anybody's lives. It didn't do anything.
Okay, but wait, completely. This lets me recount my favorite Hitler joke from the comedian Matt Loeb, who's always the joke goes, everyone talks about if they had time travel, they would go back and kill Hitler. And I just can't believe that if there is time travel, Hitler still exists. So what we have are two Holocausts that no one's talking about. There's the Holocaust that we all know about, but then there's the Holocaust of Hitler killing all these people, going back in time trying to kill him.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no.
This is a good joke!
It's there were 6 million people who've gone back in time to kill
Hitler. To try to kill Hitler, but Hitler still exists.
It didn't work.
It hasn't worked.
Never works.
Okay. I interrupt
this
program to tell you that joke.
And also another gross sexist thing.
The
and I'm
Tesseract
maybe I missed
dumb.
The Tesseract. The Tesselecta.
Tesselecta.
I've definitely called it the Tesseract before.
I've
definitely called it the Tesseract before. It's one of this episode is just so many really gross Moffatisms, and I was very confused when one of the guys in the Tesselecta told a woman to get her fat one up there, and I was like, I'm sorry. Am I
missed that.
I didn't have my
rejected that.
I don't think I had
that happened.
I didn't have the what's it called on
captions?
the captions this time, so I missed it.
I was like,
but
up.
So this is one of the other things about this episode where it was and it's one of the reasons why, and
why would you have antibodies that kill you on a ship that you live on? And the thing is obviously faulty.
Yeah. So this is one of the reasons why, one of the we talked about it already. One of the very many reasons why I don't like the Christmas special, Capaldi's regeneration episode where he has the first Doctor with him.
Oh.
So in that episode, it's the first Doctor, he's of a time, and he makes all these sexist jokes, and we're gonna throw them in there because it's funny that he's the joke is that he is not woke and he's sexist and whatever, but that one, it's a lazy joke to make fun of throwing the sexism still out there and being oh, isn't this old-fashioned when it very much exists here, but also because Moffat done been telling these jokes and saying this shit in his entire run. That one word,
without it being a joke.
Without it being a joke. The whole part where the doctor's
just because you go ha 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 and being sarcastic doesn't mean you don't believe the shit you're saying.
Right. And it's the part where he's oh, she kissed me and then she whatever, and oh, she's confused and she's a woman. And then she's and it's really?
And then he's ugh, leave me alone,
shut up, I'm dying.
It's
no, sir.
No. Even in death.
It's not funny.
You should not say that. Honestly,
period.
When you're in crisis, it shows your true personality and your true...
And I'm Moffat, are you dying?
Exactly.
Because this is your, it's not always your voice, but...
Excuse me, your subconscious is showing.
Come on.
Or your conscious is showing.
Exactly. So that part was also really annoying, where, it was all these jokes that weren't funny. And it was very clear that some of them were meant to be jokes, and some of them he totally did not realize he had...
slipped in there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Mel's regenerates, and she's like, I'm Melody, aka Melody Pond, aka River Song. And she's like, it took me years to find you two.
She doesn't know she's River, which I think is dumb. And she should know that she's River.
Huh. I
Like,
don't.
I don't think that part is that dumb.
Yeah,
I think it is only in that, like, if you're gonna be, even if you don't know that you turn into her, you should at least know who she is. Like, I feel like
Oh, is
them
someone obsessed with
hiding
the doctor?
that, for someone obsessed with the doctor, and I think with, like, I mean, again, we don't really know what's happening with the silence and who's raising her or whatever, so
I
there's
think that's
that
where
big
I can
question.
see that being the problem.
But because I would think that, like, she would know of the people who are close to him, and if she regenerates into River, you know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe that's
I
not.
think it's a
But for some
problem
reason, it
with the
felt like,
silence part, but not with her part. I feel like they might know and don't want to tell her. Like, I think there's a way for me to distance that part.
yeah,
Because she grew up in linear time in Ledsworth.
sure.
Like, I don't know, and that's where the actual problem comes in, is that, like, who is raising her and conditioning her to be this mass murderer, or
Right.
like this doctor murderer?
Well, how is her not growing up and being friends with Amy and Rory not
a liability? A huge one?
yeah, a huge liability, but also doesn't, unless she's going home in Ledsworth, she's
To-
a part of the order, the silence.
Right.
In which case, why would someone who's in the silence allow her to live this close to her parents?
Right.
Like, since they kidnapped her, right?
Right, the whole
Mm-hmm.
point, yeah.
So how is not going back and finding them and then growing up with them in linear time? Which I guess, I don't know, because it seems like she regenerated into a child.
This is
Into
the
a baby.
thing that I'm. So last we see of her is in, she's the child in the beginning of in Day of the Moon, whatever, and she somehow, I think, is a child and is in New York, and like is that little white girl who had like escaped from the astronaut suit in 1970 whatever, or like 1969, because it was the year that they went to the moon. So in 1969, she ends up in New York and like regenerates. It's like, I've been coughing, I don't feel so good, and regenerates. And unless there's a buffer between, like a buffer personality between that child and Mel's, who then time travels, like I don't understand what happened there. Like, so there's a gap, and then she gets, and then she says that and if we take it to be that this is the same, it's linear in that, like, this child gets regenerated into Mel's. How does Mel's, a toddler, get from 1969 New York to Ledsworth in linear time?
I assumed that I assumed that the silence
placed her in Ledsworth.
So they went and found her, whichever
and then
part
put
of
her near her parents, who, to me,
right, it doesn't make sense. But I think that's what I always assumed.
With their mere presence, would be chipping away at the programming.
Yep.
If you're growing up and Amy Pond is your best friend, and Amy Pond is telling you about the wonderful doctor who's a hero and who's saving you, how does that not mess with your programming?
Also,
that is someone that needs to die.
Sort of did, in that, like, she's in love with him, but also is like, you gotta die. Like, I think it did mess with her programming.
No, it did, but why would they not assume it would
that would happen?
Why would they let that happen?
Because they don't. Because they're in the wizarding world.
They lost track.
That's why.
Did they lose Melody Pond? Like, did the silence at some point just lose her?
But
that's why I know that they lost her in terms of, like, once she goes off to, like, become an archaeologist.
Yeah.
Right.
She, like, is away from them for a while, but it's not clear.
But she's hiding from them at that
She's hiding from them, and I think she's going on adventures with the doctor.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
But she also says it took me years to find you two. As in, she was looking for them.
But maybe it took them years. Maybe it took the silence years, because it depends on, like, where in the timeline the silence are too. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not. I think we're also assuming that it's the same
in the first person.
It doesn't make sense.
It really doesn't.
It's
and I've like read lots of River fanfic. Last summer it was a summer. And it's still like you have to do all these leaps and bounds in order for it to, or like erase stuff in order for it to make any kind of like logical sense for your brain. Which is just, it's so frustrating. And then she's like, okay, so I'm here to kill you now. And they do this like really dumb Sherlock recap of every time she tries to murder him, and then he like already knew because he's so smart. And I was just like, this is so Sherlock.
That is what that is.
And it was like around the time Sherlock was a thing.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you can't do anything different. Like, there people are already commenting on the fact that Sherlock and the Doctor are kind of the same character. And then you do this Sherlock scan.
I had heard all of that, but I didn't watch them at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
It was awful to watch at the same time.
Yeah, I didn't get it at the same time, so I didn't, like, I heard it, and I had been like, I see it, but
but you didn't, like, experience it in real time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Ugh.
And I was just like, this is just so dumb. Like, there's not enough time for you to be going back to the scene we just saw with all the things that you've put in this episode. It's not enough time. It's just not enough time. So obviously she's like, oh my goodness, obviously murder, like me killing you with a gun wasn't gonna be the way. I'd have to seduce you, Doctor.
And I think that's why I feel like she should know who River is.
Oh.
Because why would she know? I mean, granted, people be kissing and accosting the Doctor all the time, but I think that, like, she should have expected him to be more shocked. Or, you know, I don't know. It just felt like he was very much just like
he was very willing.
Yeah, and like he was, and it felt weird. It felt more familiar than she should be with him.
Like, he had done all of these things to make sure that she couldn't kill him, but was very loose with letting her get close enough to kiss him.
Right. And it seemed like it just felt like that's something
to her.
That's something that should have, at the very least, tipped her off. But it made me feel like in that moment, she would, it seemed more like, I guess in that moment, it felt like something that she would have known about him. Mm. And if they hadn't have done that, I could believe that she didn't know who River was, if that makes sense. Yeah. Obviously, she didn't know because that's the point of the plot, but like that was one of the things I couldn't really,
reconcile, So, like, she kisses him, and he's, like, dying, and then they go after her because they want to save their child, I guess. But, like, she's
their child / their best, like, but it's like, y'all know she's good.
Like, she's fine. She's a Time Lord plus, human plus. Like, I don't know. But they go after her, and the Tessellect is like, hold up a second. Forget Hitler. We have a whole new thing. And for 5 seconds, it's like, oh my goodness, it's the Doctor, who's this soldier and like a war criminal. And it's just like, psych, it's River. It's just like, okay.
I think it's kind of because they're not fully cops. Like, I wrote that they were time cops or whatever, but they're really like bounty hunters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're like, we'll get way more if we do
bounty hunters. Right.
They wanted time off or something. Man, this is not, like, sir, this is not the end of her life. So you're getting ahead of yourself.
Way too
just
ahead.
From that. Calm down. Calm that shit down.
So in seeing who she is, they're like, well, she definitely kills the Doctor. It's just like, oh my goodness, we know. And it's supposed to be April 21st, 2011, which I want to say was like the actual date of something, that something aired or whatever. And it's a fixed point in time.
That part, honestly, was what made me, I'm not going to say made me the most mad, because honestly, I wasn't even mad. I was just in shock the whole time, because I was like, wow, this is not good. But the fact that he didn't have to say that.
Nope.
Could have been like, oh no, I swear that it was that, and somebody would be like, well, time can be rewritten, so must be today, and just move it on, as opposed to it's a fixed point. Like, oh well, it doesn't look like it's a fixed point. Like, no, clearly it's fixed. And if you're gonna try to figure out how you're gonna get away with not killing him, it can't be fixed. Like, it just doesn't.
Right, like they always knew that they were never, like, the Doctor was never going to actually die on that day in that episode or whatever.
And you wanted us to watch that damn episode, Constance. I just
can't believe you.
We would have had so much fun yelling about it.
Would we have?
What are we doing right now?
This isn't fun to you? I don't know what you're talking about.
It just, wow. I feel like often, like, I know Moffat be tripping, but sometimes it's astonishing, like,
right,
how just, like, I don't know, like, just what are you doing? What are you doing, sir?
Yeah.
So the Doctor's dying. He goes into the TARDIS. They actually show pictures of our TV companions, and it's just like, oh my goodness, they exist.
And I'm a sucker for that. It's another reason why I love season 9. I'm a sucker for it.
I think I wasn't because I was like, it's just these stills from their promotional pictures.
I mean, I was disappointed
it wasn't even
about
from the episodes. It was like
it was a mix.
Literally,
it was a mixed thing where I was like, I've seen those. I Google Martha Jones and I see that exact picture.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I definitely, when I was watching, I was like, why couldn't you just bring Martha back? Why it got to be Amelia? Why you can't just be like,
right?
Oh, sure, I'll talk to Martha, and then have Martha actually pop up. Okay, fine, y'all fake, but I appreciate the nod. Like, I'm a sucker for it. I can't act like I'm not.
I wasn't, because I was just like, that's not even from the season.
It's not enough.
Yeah.
Like, at least just do a still from an episode. And they show up, and then Amelia comes in, and Mayana, would you like to introduce the audience to this word that you were so thrilled in the agenda to share with us?
Oh, you mean after they wait, so after he does the voice interface and he's like, he has X amount of time to live, and so he's like, bet, I'm gonna be a dramatic queen and change my outfit. And yeah, so there's this whole thing about like, oh, he's gonna die, but he's not dying, and then whatever. He dies, sort of, and then basically she decides for some reason that he's worth saving. It's all
too fast.
It's all too fast, and it really doesn't make sense.
It really is too fast.
Basically, at the end of all of it, after she feels remorse or whatever the fuck, she gives him all of his regenergy. All of her regenergy.
The freaking smug ass smile. Regenergy.
Literally, because y'all know, was like, my wrist is fucked up, so I was abbreviating regeneration. I was gonna write regen energy, and then as I was writing regen, I was like, oh. What do we have here?
Her wrist is fucked up, so she was saving her wrist from writing regeneration energy.
Yeah.
So instead she wrote regenergy, and then
first I was writing regen. Well, no, because I wrote it in my notes, like in my separate notes. I was gonna write regen energy, and then as I was writing regen, I saw it, and so I was like.
And then she continued to write "but-cha."
And then I said "OMG."
Which, at that point, just write regeneration.
Didn't really save.
I'm gonna count the characters and make sure you saved yourself some time.
I didn't, but I will say it's pretty easy to type with one hand. Like from the way where they actually like line up on the thing, it's easier to do that than trying to go regen all up over the thing.
Oh, so okay, sure.
I copied and pasted regenergy.
I believe that.
And then the other part was one hand.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel like it just I don't know. She like saves Amy and Rory, which makes sense. She grew up as her best friends. So
although
like,
she's not concerned with them until the doctor is like, save them, which is like, girl, at the very least they're your best friend.
Can I also just stop and say, he screams, save her, Amy, do something, and the thing that Amy does leads to them dying, or about to die, and then Amy yells, save us, doctor, do something, and I'm like, how about one of y'all find a solution that doesn't put the other person in danger? It's a fucking house of cards here, and I'm tired. You could have just used your status as a family member to appeal the sentence and to get the bureaucracy involved. Instead, no, you turn off everyone's thing, which is a stupid fucking thing to have.
And then couldn't turn it back on?
Couldn't turn it back on. No, she
turn it on. That's what I mean.
She exploded them. There was no fixing it. She couldn't turn it off, have it stop, and turn it back on. No, she exploded them. And also, why the fuck are you in a ship that is designed to kill you as the default, and you have to have something to make sure it doesn't kill you? That's not the bad security system.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
The whole thing is dumb.
Correct.
All of these fake stakes, when it's like any engineer would have told you, this is a stupid design.
Yep. So she has to go save Amy, who almost couldn't save herself or whatever. And, you know,
because Amy committed suicide or attempted suicide. Because what the fuck was that plan?
Wasn't a good one. So River gets in the TARDIS, and it's important to note here that she says she told me how to fly her because she taught me, which is important because at one early episode when she meets the doctor, she's just like, the best person to teach me to fly the TARDIS taught me how to fly the TARDIS, and he's just like, haha, it was me. And she's like, no, you were sick that day. Which is true. It was
her second mama.
It's like I did appreciate that small thing, but it was a small thing.
He was sick that day because he was.
But see, that's the thing.
I like that one.
That's the thing, though, is that Moffat saw that he did something and then was like, "Okay, here's how I can use it." But he didn't do that.
Right.
Like everything else in this episode is trying to do that, but without the thing. Yeah. It's the one thing that he got right in this whole episode. So yeah, she gives him all his regenergy, and I get upset with this part because I don't know how many, the doctor is supposed to have 13 life cycles or something, whatever. And obviously this is before we meet the war doctor, so like we don't understand that like he's on his last one or whatever. But who knows how many she has, because she's not really a Time Lord. She's like just some combination of them. But like she gave all of hers up to him, and whatever. Why? But also fine. Do that. But then later, when it's revealed that he's on his last one, it's not like where did all her energy go? Where did all of her regeneration energy went into his one life? Really? Because they didn't use it.
Too many questions, Connie.
Because when they extend his life cycles, it's not because River gave him all of her regeneration energy. It's because the Time Lords came back and were like, here's a gift, or whatever they did. And I'm just like, but you had the thing right there to already have done that.
Also, can we just stop writing absolutes into
Doctor
Who been going on for 50 years?
Goddamn, like what? Like, why do we keep doing
that?
I think it's for the stakes, but there are other ways to raise the stakes.
You can raise the stakes without there were people before you who wrote you into a corner. Why are you writing the people that are kind of going to come after you into a corner? Mm-hmm. Like, come on. Mm-hmm. Yes, they're assholes. That is correct.
That's why.
Answer.
Because I don't know what else it would be. Like, truly.
Yeah.
Also, like a show that you know is just going to continue. Like,
we know that it's like, and if it doesn't continue in this form or whatever, like you had a 20-year break or whatever, or 18-year break in between Classic Who and New Who. Like, if it does stop, it can always be brought back. Like, you've proven the fact that you're on season 6 of the New Who proves that this is a franchise that can always come back. So stop writing absolute.
And I think the other thing, it's like one of the other reasons I don't like.
And you contradict yourself 5 times in this episode, so of course you're going to contradict yourself in a later season. Sorry.
Right. And I also think that the thing too is like, I think it's better to create real stakes than ones that are contrived, right? Like we all know how it works. You can't keep saying, oh, the regeneration isn't going to work, or the regeneration is done, it's run out, or it's been disabled, which what the hell? Like it's not a computer program. Like you keep doing that, and at a certain point, you know that there's another episode, right? We know we're in the middle of the season. We know that like it's probably been renewed. We know we know all these things. So if you're going to do it once, do it well, and then move the fuck on. Like, I'm so tired of the doctors dying. Like, I just am like...
I'm as tired of the doctor dying as I am of the Daleks getting defeated. Like,
I don't mind the Daleks, but yes.
I mean, I don't mind the Daleks, but it's like... But even then, it's like... I guess what I'm tired of is that the Daleks are like this undefeatable thing that continues to get defeated. It's like, they can always come back. There are new and different ways to... like, introduce the Daleks, introduce those stakes, but to say that they are these undefeatable, like, like,
it only works.
You know what they are?
Episode, or the first time they pop up in New Who and Homeboy starts flying, and I was like, well, what the fuck are we gonna do?
Damn it, right.
But after that,
then what you do is you treat them like cockroaches. Like they're an infestation that are dangerous that are hard to get rid of.
Right.
But can be, like you see bugs and you're like, no, gross, no thank you. But you're not like, oh, we're all gonna die. This is the end of it. It's like, how do we, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's the fact that, like, they're gonna keep coming back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is the thing, that you'll never be rid of this foe. Like, the doctor's death is one of those things where it's like, he's going to keep coming back. Yeah. So it's what you do. It's the story that you choose to tell that is more interesting than, like,
they could have saved it. Like, they could have saved this energy of, like, the doctor's going to die for them knowing that he only has a certain amount of regenerations, because one time, at some point in Classic Who, they said it was only 12 regeneration cycles. Not like they haven't ignored things that were introduced in Classic Who before. But, like, they give this energy to him dying every season, but then it doesn't hit when it's like, oh, he might actually die for the last time this time. Even though
it's like, okay, so y'all gonna finish the season with him dying? Great. Or the series? Cool. That's exactly why we're here. Like, just on top of that, like, who wants that?
Right. Makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
Obviously, he survives because River gives him all her regenergy, because she needed to, because she can't have any, because River dies for real. Like, that's the only reason why any of that happened anyway, was because we know that she dies for real.
But the other thing too is like
saved and uploaded to the library. It's a whole thing,
right? Yeah, because that was what I was gonna say. It's like it could just be that she got saved and uploaded to the library. You can't re-download Time Lords or Time. Or
right. You can't.
That happened. 10th Doctor didn't know that she had regeneration power, so he was just like, this is all I got. Gotta upload her. That's all I
got. Okay, so we've done all of this. This is annoying. The doctor's supposed to die. River gives all of her regenergy. Then she goes on to study archaeology, and her answer to the admissions committee is to find a good man. And they're like, sure, you're in. That's a great answer.
How does she?
And like, it's supposed to be because, like, oh, a good man goes to war, and like, oh, the doctor's a good man. But then, after all the sexism we done established and
right, because it could have been like
this whole episode, you'd be like, oh, I want to know about time travel.
But it's like she's an archaeologist who's studying this figure.
I want to study the doctor.
Right. Like a person that, like, people at this school, they know who he is. Like, you could just say, I want to study the doctor. Like, that wouldn't be out of the ordinary for, like, an archaeologist to be like, well, I'm at this time university or whatever, and, like, I want to study a man who time travels and his history and his life. Like, that's normal.
Right.
But saying, I want to find a good man, it's like, oh, you want to get your MRS?
You want to get an MRS?
Why are you here?
In 20,
else.
20,
30, 58 or whatever?
51, 23. I'm like, there are other places and cheaper places, I'm sure, to study.
Right.
The Dr. Sonic
if you want to do that, do that.
Dr. Sonic her cards, and so she don't got to pay. She on that Sonic scholarship.
That idea is just so lazy.
Yeah.
Because she could have said, I would like to be a good person.
Mm-hmm. Or a good doctor,
or to unlearn some things that I have learned or that have been brainwashed into me. Like, there's so many things that she could have said. I want to
study the silence. I want to study Madame Kavarian. Like, there's so many things. And he's like, Moffat's like, it's to find her husband.
It's a pun, He wants to find her. He wants to find him, but also he's a good man. But also, like, shut up. Just shut up. I can't.
And I loved Moffat so much during this time that I did not realize how awful this was. Yeah. And now I don't trust myself. And like,
no, I think it's a universal. I feel
Stockholm
like it's a common feeling, and Stockholmy, and like season 5 had its
Was
issues,
so
but like
good.
was really
Well,
good.
season 5 was really good, but also my favorite episodes of RTD's
Our Moffat
run
episodes
are Moffat's. And so when I was like, oh, he's doing it, and I went back to the early episodes, and I was like, oh, he wrote this, he wrote Blink, oh, he wrote Silence in the Library, oh, he wrote, like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Then I was like, oh, well, then it's about to be lit.
He does not need to be a showrunner.
No. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think it's like, it's, and then he did season 5, and it was cool, but honestly, I think if we went back, I think we could poke some holes.
No, absolutely.
And not in like a, and not in the Doctor Who way, not in the Doctor Who poke some holes. I mean, in the Moffat. I'm just saying, we just watched Let's Kill Hitler, and I've liked that episode for quite some time.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So it's not to say that like it's not to say that he hasn't written good things, because he has, because that's why, you know,
how he got the job.
Like, yeah, and it's why we're also in the position of being like, yo, that's wild. How did we not catch this before?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I just been bamboozled.
Hoodwinked. I was literally, first off, I'd given up on ever winning the Blue Ballot Box series, so that was one thing. But I literally was like, look at this, I win on a good episode. No one's suffering here. There are problems. There are definitely problems and things that we can discuss.
I don't remember.
But it's overall enjoyable.
Bayana, what episode was it that you had? I don't remember.
42 and Midnight.
No. From this season. Season 6.
Oh, the Doctor's Wife. Which is great, because the TARDIS can talk.
Yeah.
And it's Neil Gaiman.
In there, but
it's Neil Gaiman. I do know that we can poke holes in that in terms of Moffat's like sexism. Yeah. So it's like it would have been the same of like watching the episode. Like, wait, I thought this was more.
Nah, because I've seen that episode recently, at least twice. Because I was watching it with Ami, and like, because now I can't turn that brain off. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like, especially for Doctor Who specifically. I can turn it off for other things. I can't turn it off for Doctor Who. Like, it's still decent. Like, it does. Yeah. I didn't watch it the last times I've seen them and have the same reaction that I had watching this.
Yeah.
Is mostly
the Neil Gaiman of it really helps. Because he does mythology very well.
Yeah.
Right.
And so he does, like, having the Doctor's wife be a character that is kind of ethereal and not of this world, and so therefore, like,
it's all so Neil.
It's so Neil, but also it's like the things that she said, or the things that come out of like those characters, and I forget what they were, like the mother,
auntie and uncle, yeah,
like they don't come, like, they're being spoken from a human, but like they don't come from like a human. Like, it's very easy to see that is not based in any societal, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
they're so ethereal and so not of this world that you can, you know, whatever.
Yeah, and I already know my episode about the Doctor's wife. A headache, but you know, I don't really like any of the other episodes.
Which one?
Season.
She chose the finale.
Oh,
which would have just been this times 10, like, honestly. Because this is, like, but,
honestly, if you go back and listen to our recap of this season, that is the episode in which I just shut down.
Oh, you mean of River, not
of River. A recap of River, sorry. Yeah, it's like, you broke me, and a large part of that does come from the Wedding of River song, but, like, the whole series, like, her whole run.
Well, not even starts here, but this is a big part of, like, that confusion and that.
Well, so let's go into melody.
Right.
Moments.
Melody moment.
I just made that up.
Now, first, before we start melody moments, I would like to say, in the tradition of Tarbis, you know, seeing the truth and real lies, I was like, oh wow, there's a black actress playing Melody Pond. They really doing something here. They referencing the fact that Alex Kingston is black without really referencing that she black, because they made her the daughter of two white people. And I was like, but Alex Kingston is like mixed or whatever. So like, obviously that don't make no sense. But then they were trying to compensate for that lack by having a black actress before that regeneration play her.
Make it plain.
You know, and the lies. The lies.
That was all you. That was
Oh my
all
gosh.
your hope.
I mean, I wasn't the only person who thought she was black, but I was.
Who thought?
But I was likely one of the
She
few
is
people who
black.
was like, "Look, they actually doing something.
What
They
is
never
it?
doing
Oh, yeah, no,
nothing.
I didn't think
They
that.
never doing nothing."
They weren't
What
doing
is the
anything,
name of that?
but
They weren't doing nothing.
they weren't doing nothing.
What is the name of that
But,
movie
you know,
with the girl
somebody
that
lying.
passes? And she like it's my mom's like it's one of my mom's favorite. It's an old
I was
movie.
gonna say it. There's a lot of them, or not? Well, there's a lot of. I've read mostly the books. I don't know about the movies.
No, there's like an old movie, The Color of something, or I don't know.
I was gonna say the kind
Anyway.
of friendship, but that's not
No,
it at all.
that's not it at all.
Yeah.
But that's the first thing that popped in my
But
head.
that's what we're gonna find out that Alex Kingston has been doing.
Well, she's already revealed, supposedly. Anyway, I thought they were doing something. But first item on the agenda is that she is annoying.
She is in the Danny Pink.
Ooh.
No.
She can't sit with us.
No. I just feel like I don't like them for different reasons.
Oh no,
But yeah, she
completely
absolutely can't sit with us.
different reasons, but it's
Okay.
like who's gonna be on the tar bis?
Yeah, not. I honestly.
Mel? No. River could come.
She could
But
slide
River,
through.
after a year or two of study at Time University or whatever the fuck, because Mel's and early River,
no, ma'am.
no ma'am.
Oh, it's Luna University, according to the sticker that I bought. For my
Oh ma'am. She absolutely cannot join us.
She came in on 11.
Hot. On 11!
On 11. But
I didn't even catch it until y'all caught it. She came in so hot, so spicy, so loud.
Loud. And not
So
even
loud.
in the Donna way, because like when Donna comes in loud, I didn't like her, but then going back and seeing it again, I'm like, okay, I understand this loudness, and like I enjoy those episodes.
And Donna
anew. And like, and then she eventually had like character development and like was an actual character that had, you know, personality and stuff, and wasn't just like a bunch of moments put to string
like, could
together.
you imagine if we had gotten like attached to Mel's, and like even if when she first was announced or first introduced, and like if she had been introduced earlier, like if she had been introduced earlier, and when she first popped up, we'd be like, I don't know about this girl. Why is she just like the black girl who's in trouble and is always in jail? That's a great, you know, representation. Mm-hmm. And then like by the end or by the middle of the season, we're like, oh no, Mel's is actually pretty lit. She does whoop whoop whoop, and then the plot twist of like, oh no, she's really here to kill the doctor. That would have been so amazing.
And then that she regenerates into a character that we already know.
We already know? Woo! That shit would have been amazing.
That would have, wow, I think we just fixed Doctor Who season 6.
I mean, but he didn't think the thing is he didn't know, and that's the other thing that bothers me is like I'm not saying that I couldn't like Mel's.
Right.
Like it's not to say that I could never like her, but she would have to be given some. It couldn't be a 5-second montage.
She has the Clara issue of not knowing who she's not a person.
She's a plot device to get us to River, and that's it.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so you can't like
about it.
There's nothing that sticks to who like her. There's nothing
she has no
that makes her a character.
Mm-hmm.
She was friends with Amy and Rory. She
Supposedly.
was obsessed with the doctor. I know, right? Like she's just getting them into trouble. She doesn't really help them. She's just like, oh, by the way, Rory likes you. That's literally the only help that I see that they presented us with of why they're friends.
And she has this whole thing about pennies dropping.
I do say that sometimes randomly in my head. I'm just like, penny in the air. And the penny drops.
And like, you know, people can have catchphrases or whatever. That's fine. I don't care. But like, who are you?
Right. It's like you use your catchphrase twice in the same episode? That's whack.
Right. Like, wow. Characterization. Like the butterfly. Right. Is this?
Characterization?
Is this characterization?
It is not. And then, like, her backstory makes no sense. She's shoehorned into this episode. Her hairstyles are so bad, you guys. Like, why?
The wig.
It was so bad. And then,
oh my god! And then somebody,
the braids.
And then somebody who has been watching lots of Bravo TV, where these women have all the money in the world and cannot find a good wig to save their lives. I just feel like maybe don't. What's going on under there? Like she couldn't have like a buzz cut. What's happening with her hair?
Right. Like why did we feel the need?
She couldn't just do the Angelina Johnson. I wear braids all the time. Like I just because girl.
I mean, I will say that, at least in America, a lot of times Black actors and actresses have to
Yeah.
either do their own hair
Oh,
or
that's
pay,
Right.
like,
definitely
get
true
someone.
in Britain.
Right. It's
And I'm
definitely not
assuming
on.
it's
I was gonna
like,
say it's not on her.
I think it's 1,000 times that
It's gotta be.
in Britain.
Absolutely.
Because if it's happening in America, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So, and if you're just starting out and you don't have money,
They're
Yeah.
like, plop this wig on. Yeah, it's definitely not on her.
like,
It's definitely
Yikes.
on the
Definitely on some-
stylists who were like,
Yeah.
yeah, this will look
This
fine.
looks great. It
Because
does not.
they made it like they were so much better about Amy's
They
hair
had-
after she buzzed it off for
Mhm.
Gamora. What
Mhm.
Nebula? Like,
Yeah.
the fact that 3 seasons later, no, less than that, like 2 seasons later, Homegirl has no hair at all, and you were able to get her a fine enough wig that I forget. I'm just like, oh right, she's bald.
She's like
here.
Raggedy Man, good night, and she has this little part and it's a little sheet of, there's no movement, but it works.
You know?
Like,
And yet,
yeah.
poor Black girl got
They
this,
literally-
like, crunchy,
they gave her one
crunchy
wig.
curl wig.
They gave her one wig.
the
They braided
bangs.
it for one with them bangs. They braided it for one, and they're like, time passing. Let's just chop the ends and plop it back on. They probably chopped it while it was on her head, and then just was like, go on, you can do your jail scene now.
And now I'm trying to imagine Mel's sitting for the braids that she came out with. I'm just like, with what patience did you have for this?
that was probably the hairstyle that she had.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they're like, let's just bundle those
She was
braids
like,
up and put them
I've
under
got
this
a
wig cap.
job. I got a job. I'm Black. They ain't gonna have nobody there to do my hair. Let me get my hair braided.
Yep. And then it was like, oh, there are flashbacks.
And then they were like, there are flashbacks. So,
Whew.
yikes.
It's also very strange to be the one to put your parents together. And her characterization is so sexist and racist. Like, it's just all of the above.
Bad. And it's only racist in that it was a colorblind situation, some colorblind casting. They didn't. It's only racist in that, like, if she had been white, it wouldn't be racist.
Yeah.
But it is because she's Black and they didn't notice it,
Change anything.
But yeah.
Because again, when you
But
colorblind cast somebody,
But
you
even
back
if
and
she
make sure your story
even if
makes
she
sense.
was white,
no, it'd still be a problem.
Being a troubled youth whose best friends are just there to bail her out is not endearing. It
Oh, no,
doesn't
no, no.
like
Yeah,
you.
no.
I mean, I know I'm saying the race, like, everything that you guys are saying is true. But I'm like, even with a colorblind casting, they didn't write a likable character that I wanted to know.
No, not even a little bit. And also, I didn't understand, like, the first time she gets in trouble for calling the teacher stupid for not knowing about the doctor. I don't know why Amy didn't be like,
programmed.
why Amy didn't say, oh, girl, like, we can't hang out anymore.
Right.
But the part where she's like, you're the most in trouble in school except for boys, and she's like, and you. So then I'm like, so why is Amy or Amelia at that point
not
like
equally in trouble?
Not only that, why is she telling off Mel's for being in trouble if she's also always in trouble?
Right. And then the
Like,
weird
that doesn't make
I
sense.
think maybe it's because she's in trouble. Maybe Amy thinks, I'm in trouble for reasons, and you just keep talking about the doctor. Like, you could just not say nothing.
Maybe.
But then also, Amy's a boy.
Right.
Right.
Like, that's such
Like,
a
what?
weird line. It's just like, I count as boys. And the way
As a
she
boy?
says it is just like, duh, but like, that doesn't make any sense.
No. Because then she also grows up to be a model, a kissogram. Is
Right,
not
like,
tomboyish at all.
Right.
No.
So, you know what I mean? Not that you can't
Right.
count yourself as a boy and
Be femme.
femme, but like,
That's not
Moffat
what was
doesn't
happening
have,
there.
yeah, Moffat doesn't have that range.
No.
Right.
He doesn't have that
all
nuance.
what was happening there.
So,
Doesn't make any sense.
It
Because
makes
it's
no
not
sense.
even like that's a reference to like the first time we met baby Amelia. Like, that's not a reference to anything. It's just, she just says that. And it's like, what? Huh? I don't understand.
Why? Why do you? Is that something that people have been telling you? Is like what is that?
Right. It's like the only boy you hang out with is Rory. It's not like you're like one of the boys because you hang out with only boys. You just hang out with one boy.
yeah.
And you barely hang out with him. You just be leaving him out to dry.
Poor Rory. It's like, obviously
Rory
he's
has
gay.
never been
He's like, what are you
appreciated.
talking about?
No,
I'm
like
not
that's what
gay.
I really that was another like, and this is a separate episode or whatever, but like I just never understood. Like, eventually they get, like, oh, we love each other or whatever, but the way that their relationship works does not make sense to me.
No.
Yeah.
Like, I don't.
It's also weird because she, like, assumes that Rory's gay. Which, okay, fine. But, like, that's your best friend and you never talked about it?
Right.
This is the first time you're talking about it is in front of your
In
other
10
best friend
years?
when you're, like, 17?
Yep. First time in 10 years that they've discussed.
You know what I mean? Even because I'm going in the middle of my MCU watch, even in Civil War, or not Civil War, Winter Soldier, Nat is like, come on, Cap, like, what's going on? Like, you've been
Right.
unfrozen for a year. Get
It's
some,
only been a
you
year,
know?
and she's just like, it's time. Let's
It's
go.
time. You know? We let you do your sulk, you know, but
Let's
now
get
you
out
got
there.
this, you out here,
You're Captain America.
you got the
Like,
mind of a 90-year-old and the body of a 30-year-old, of a super soldier.
yikes.
So let's do this
Let's
thing.
go.
Find you someone. Like,
Let's go.
and seeing how bossy Amy is, Amy's definitely trying to find Rory a boyfriend.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know? I'm always trying to find my friend's boyfriends. And I don't even go there. I don't even care. I'm like, hey,
That one
got a
looks
cute
nice.
guy. What you think?
That one
Whatever.
looks nice. Anyway.
Yeah. But also, I think, so this is also where, I mean, I think, like, before I was thinking, like, this is where Moffat loses the river arc. I think he lost it before that.
Yeah.
Or was
Yeah.
losing it, and this is where it's gone.
This is
if
where
that
it's
makes
gone.
This is where it's gone. Because I think he writes himself into too many corners in this episode. And so then you can just see, as you're watching it, like, well,
Him
that...
giving up.
well, that, yes. You see him giving up, and you can see, like, having seen the episodes that come after, you're like, oh, okay, that's why that part didn't make sense. You could just draw, like, direct lines to all the other things where you're like, what the fuck? It all kind of, like, stems back to this, and A Good Man Goes to War a bit too, but, like,
Yeah,
it's
but
just...
I feel like A Good Man Goes to War, he could have turned it around, and the car just went off the cliff. Like, he really could have turned it around there, because, like, things up to that point were vague enough where it's like, okay, fine. And even if the idea of him, of River being his wife, but also his murderer, and also Amy, like, the Amy and Rory's daughter was like the one, like, too many things to add on to her character. But I think like even then they maybe could have turned it around, and and it didn't happen. Because what annoys me is that they introduce a new characterization for Alex Kingston to play with, and then they are not consistent with when they have her play this version of her.
They don't have
because her last scene,
they don't have her timeline plotted out at all.
No, because her last episode with Capaldi is very too close to this river than the river that we meet in the library, and it really bothers me. Like, the way that she acts in that episode, and I'm just like, is this a direction thing? Is this everybody's too confused, and so they kind of went with a middle ground thing? But, like, they really should have just gone back to watch Forest
Silence in the Library.
Yeah, like Silence in the Library, to get that characterization. But it's literally the melody version of River, and it drives me crazy. So, like, watching this episode really bothers me, because, especially after having watched Husbands, and it's just like, but why did you pick this one? This is the wrong one.
Yeah, they definitely needed somebody with, like, flashcards and, like, in their whatever, just charting out, like, this is when this is River's arc and how she becomes the woman that she is in Silence in the Library, and then we can jumble it up from there. But, like, there was no one keeping track of that at all.
No.
Because by the time she's with Capaldi,
when Jeremy Bury Me goes wrong.
Right.
I think one of the other things is, like you were saying, Connie, like, they give her too many things. I'm still on the, like, why does the doctor need to die? Like, why does she have to kill the doctor? Because we know he's not dying. So,
I think it's fine. I think for me that part is fine, because it's less about the doctor actually dying. But then they were like, it's a fixed point. Like, I think it's fine if everyone thinks that she killed the doctor, and, like, people don't really I don't know, like the universe doesn't quite realize that the Doctor has all these lifespans and maybe it was the last one and yada yada. Like there are things that on her end, it's like, okay, she kills the Doctor, goes to jail for it, has this reputation around the universe. And that part on that end is fine. It's the part on the Doctor's end and on Moffat's end where it's just like, it's a fixed point. It's definitely happening. Nothing we can do can undo this. And it's just like, that's a lie. That's not how the show works.
I think it's, for me, it's the idea that, like, she can be Rory and Amy's daughter and then also become his wife, and then, like, how that works, right?
Right.
Because it's also that kind of gross thing that Nicole talks about when you, like, meet someone, when you meet someone, you know, or when you know of them in time travel.
Oh, yeah.
Because not only does she know him, like, she was conceived on his growth.
See, yeah, and I feel like, I mean, I don't know, like, I feel like it's slightly different than, like, Madame de Pompadour, where, like, he literally met her at 8 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he met her without knowing who she was, and, like, it's not like they grew up together and they're meeting in, like, it's so out of place that it's a little less gross to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know.
Like, having that arc would be interesting enough, right?
Yes.
But then making her, like, an international, like a space Indiana Jones is cool.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm a criminal, I'm a hero, I'm a this, I'm a that, it's too many things, but she has to go through all of those things, because how do you go from killing the Doctor to being his wife? You know what I mean? Like,
apparently, because it didn't work when they did it.
They weren't even actually married. All the show's dumb. It's dumb.
Quotes from the TARDIS. We gotta go.
Ugh. You said guns wouldn't work in this place. You said we're in a state of temporal grace.
Just the way she says it. Because all of it's so stupid.
Like, that was a clever lie.
But it was like, dumb. Girl.
But it's also like,
why shoot the TARDIS?
You're not, we just had this montage. So they wrote that I shot the TARDIS for 8-year-old Melody. Because any adult, why would you shoot something that you're inside of?
Doesn't make any sense. A spaceship that goes in time that you know does that.
Does that. Why would you then, yeah.
That you're inside of! I'm not shooting a gun, bullets ricochet.
Correct.
And then the other thing is like, I feel like maybe, like, part of me at one point was like, hey, maybe she's doing it because she's trying to disable the TARDIS, because she's whatever, but then, like, it still works. They're like, oh, there's gas in there, it just fixes itself.
And then he turns on the fans. He pushes everyone out, goes back in, and says,
turns on the fan. And then he's like, I'm good, and I'm very, like, the whole shooting the TARDIS part, other than, like, oh, we crashed, but, like, the TARDIS crashes all the time, so it could just be that the TARDIS crashed. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's not a very good driver.
He's not a good driver, so it could have happened without it being, like, they're trying to disable the TARDIS, but don't actually disable the TARDIS.
Who is River Song? Spoilers.
That's a good one, just because it's the
first time.
Well, it's like it's like the chicken and the egg thing. Like, that's the first time she heard it, but she said it to him. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, she got it. Yeah. He got it from her, and she gets it from
my daughter after my daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. You named your daughter after your daughter.
I'm dying, but I've got a plan. What's the plan? Not dying! I do enjoy all of 11's lines.
I've got a plan.
Yeah. Because it's never a good plan. Never a full plan. But the line's always a banger.
Yeah. You are authorized. Your existence will continue. I just like the little jellyfish robot thingies, like
the antibodies.
They don't make any sense to me, but I like how polite they are.
Yeah, I also like don't be alarmed. It's normal to feel fear before you're incinerated or whatever. Like, I like when you put like bureaucratic things on like catastrophes. I've always really liked that. Like, oh, we're about to murk you, but like we must, give you the you got to follow this paperwork first and give the disclaimers.
Mm-hmm.
Never knowingly be serious. It's a good life motto.
True. Also, never run when you're scared. Rule 7. I mean, my fight or flight response is flight, so I don't know that I
was
can
gonna
follow
say-
Rule 7, but
No, definitely
appreciate
not.
the
But
advice,
also,
I guess.
it's one of those. It's one of those like I like it better when Ned Stark said it, but like I like
With
those
who?
iterations of that line of Ned Stark when he's like, "Can a man be brave when he's scared? A man can only be brave when he's scared." Like,
Yeah,
I like it better when he said it, but I like pretty much almost any iteration of that. Like,
I see
guess.
that, and I think in dog owner brain terms, because I'm always yelling at children, like, don't run from her. She thinks you run from a predator. That means the chase is on.
Yeah.
I also get that from Mercy Thompson tells me that a lot. And it also makes me feel very comfortable because my immediate response, like I said, I don't have fight or flight, I freeze. So I'm always like, I'm doing something right. I'm correct, you're wrong. I will say too about like the rules. It was cute, and then it got old, but then it allowed us to get to rule number 1, the doctor lies. So
yeah, I do enjoy Rule 1, but then I think at some point, either 12, maybe it's 12, forgets that Rule 1 is the doctor lies. Somebody forgets that that's Rule 1. Or doesn't.
But also, the first rule he dropped was 207 or some shit.
Right.
So like he can't keep track. He can't keep track of what numbers it is.
He just numbering them. He just talking.
He's like, whatever.
I do enjoy. It's one thing we didn't discuss, and I'm still looking for one in real life. That he gave her the TARDIS notebook.
Yeah. I can't believe that's not a bigger
piece of merch. Like, I don't understand.
I feel like you would be able to find that
anywhere.
There's some good ones at Barnes & Noble, but they're thicker. I mean, they're thinner and they're more like standard journal size. And like the one that he gives is small and thick.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. Every time I go to buy one,
anytime, but I've never seen one ever.
Oh,
so
really?
No. Which is why I'm like, any kind, I would get it so fast.
Yeah.
Anyway, you see, send me links to TARDIS notebook merch, obviously.
Cool. So thanks for listening. Check us out at blackgirlscreate.org. Check your girl Connie out at New York Comic Con. She is going to be interviewing Christopher Eccleston.
Whew. It's fine.
So
I'm not terrified or nervous. It's fine.
I mean, you should not like you should be, but like it's perfectly normal.
Perfectly normal.
Yeah, because I mean, yeah. But if you're going to be there, then definitely go check her out.
Thursday, 11 a.m. The first main stage panel of New York Comic Con 2019. Again, it's fine. With Christopher Eccleston, who I don't know if I want. I might have to put a moratorium on this. But if one more person says, "Wow, is he talking about Doctor Who now?" That's not making me nervous at all. No, what are you talking about? So, it'll be great. It's the first one. He's gonna talk about Who. It's the whole point. He's been at cons recently. It's gonna be great. So 11 a.m. on Thursday, October 3rd. I have zero details on what any kind of recording or any of that will be, so maybe I'll just put my phone in my pocket and record it.
But yeah, so do that. Gang. We out here.
Well, Connie's out here. But you know, we out here.
Y'all ride in the Tarbis. We all ride.
I was gonna say she's probably gonna wear her shirt.
Absolutely.
I've got
I
got my MVP first class VIP ticket on Constance's coattail, so I'm good. Follow us on social media. Yes. You can follow us on Twitter at WeBlackandNerds. You can follow Bayana at Yana_Hallows, me at Robin with a Y_Ravenclaw, and Connie at Constar24. We've decided that the con stands for conventions and the star stands for superstar because she is the convention superstar 24. And use the hashtag Tarbis, time and relative blackness in space, to just, talk to us about Who things.
Yep. Join our Slack where we have conversations dedicated to conversations about Doctor Who. I said conversations twice, but y'all know what I mean. Join it. We talk Doctor Who. We talk other nerd things. Rate and review us on iTunes and where podcasts are found. And Tarbis is a part of Hard Knock Media. So we are on the Nerds of Color podcast network, including podcasts Hard Knock Life, Southern Fried Asian, DCTV Classics, Ask Bi Girls, Daisy Geek Girls. We're not all ninjas in that moment, and you can check out all of these podcasts at hardnocmedia.com.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Be sure to stay tuned for the Twitter poll to vote on which episode we discuss next for season 7 of Doctor Who. If you're Team Robin, vote for Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. If you're Team Diana, Journey to the Center of the TARDIS. And if you're Team Connie, Angels Take Manhattan. We picked these a while ago, guys.
Yeah, I do want to say, like, it's not like we picked these before, like, the poll goes out. We picked them all at the same time. So,
right. So
yeah,
I've had some time to ruminate on some of my choices. And
we just have to go with what we can't change them. We just are going with what we said.
That makes
all right,
it a
Robin.
fun.
Yeah, because honestly, like, half the time I'm like, ooh, what did I say?
Right. Okay.
Oh, okay. I was like, what's my pitch? But
is
I got
it 30
now.
seconds?
All right. Yep. Ready? Set.
Yeah.
Dinosaurs on a Spaceship.
Okay, so we have black girls. Not only do we have black girls, we got Queen Nefertiti. Boom. And then we have fandom collision. So you have Rupert Graves, who is in Sherlock and in a bunch of other stuff, but he's in Sherlock. He plays Lestrade. And then you have Arthur Weasley, and he plays Rory's dad. Arthur Weasley, the dad of your magical dreams, is then Rory's dad in the space world.
All right,
and then you got David Bradley.
That's
no,
it.
I'm not done.
Too late.
You're
Too
done.
late.
You're
Too
done.
late.
You spent too much time on Ron.
You spent way too much time.
Redo?
Nope.
Can I prepare one?
No.
I had to go on Wikipedia to figure out who was on here.
Oh well.
Nope.
Mitchell and Webb.
Nope.
No.
Is it my turn or somebody gonna time me?
I got you.
Okay.
And go.
Journey to the center of the TARDIS. We go on a journey to the center of the TARDIS. Okay. First off, it's a Clara episode, so we can talk Clara, which we haven't done yet. There are 3 black people. Count them. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And we go into the TARDIS. Like, this is one of the first times that we actually get to see, like, at least some of the TARDIS, and like things are popping off, and it's fun. And I don't know. From what I remember, I like it. So
That's it.
We need a minute.
No, we don't.
I'm not happy with my pitch.
Absolutely don't. All right, Connie. Ready?
Yep.
All right, go.
Robin Jordan has not seen this episode. I feel like that's a good reason enough for you to vote for Angels Take Manhattan. Obviously, there's some River, Amy and Rory's last stand. We get to yell about the Statue of Liberty as a weeping angel. Child. But the most important reason is that Robin hasn't seen it, and I feel like it is time for Robin to watch this episode. That's all I got.
That's it. That's valid, honestly.
I think it's time.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, first impressions, like, this is going to be a big one. It's going to be good. It's going to be real good.
I've tried and failed to watch that episode so many times. Like, my brain it starts and my brain goes, not interested. Like, I'm at the end of I'm so far over how they treated my faves that by the time we get there, I'm just like, we don't need to. We don't have to.
October will be Black Companion Future Month. So if you're listening to this and you have ideas about the Black characters on Doctor Who, and would like to pitch us essays about them, because we don't really have that many on our Critical Companion series, we'd love that. If you have fan art of all of our fave Black characters, send them to us. If you have fic that you have written or want to write, let us know. Basically, we just want to like casually spend October, which is Black History Month in the UK, do a little extra who chatting with our Black friends. So join us for Black Companion Future Month. Very casual, very October, very Tarbis.
Yeah, should be fun. Also, if you haven't already, get a Tarbis shirt from DFTBA.
It's right there
in October. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Rockin' Rare your Tarbis merch.
You know?
Let people know who you're riding with. Who are you traveling in time and space with? The black people. The Issa gift. Everybody black.
Everybody black.
Not Danny Pink though. Never forget.
Not Danny Pink or Mel's.
Mel's
Or
is also
Mel's.
not invited.
River counts though. River counts.
But absolutely not Mel's.
No.
Absolutely.
Honestly, she might be more banned than Danny.
She bringing guns.
She bringing guns on the TARDIS. We can't have that.
No.
Sorry.
You can't come.
No, ma'am.
No. Thank you for listening
ma'am.
once again. Please vote, and we'll see you next month.
The black girls have the box.